Hey, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Now, this is an interesting situation. The Switch 2 is about a month or so away from launching, and we already have peripherals being sold for the console on AliExpress. So I thought it would be fun if we took a look and see what is available. What can you buy right now? This isn't sponsored, of course. I don't take sponsorships. But I do buy a bunch of stuff from AliExpress to do funny comedy skits here on the channel, and I just thought this was so interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things here. So for starters, it looks like we have a wall-mounted dock here, and of course you're going to see all sorts of cases. So we'll skip, things like cases and whatnot. I think they're not that interesting, really. These sort of cases, but anything else is fair game. Anything that I think looks interesting. So we'll open these up. This is so... what the heck is... I think that's the same as the thing before. Let's look at it. Alright, so I've just go ahead and click on some things here. Now this makes sense. This looks like it makes sense to me. I'll go ahead and move that over. Okay, yeah, that's simple. That's pretty useful. I know there are people that have their consoles and their TV mounted on the wall. I'm still using one of those old style stands, so this wouldn't be useful to me. But this is pretty neat. This has a very tidy solution. It's got a spot for one controller, so your other controllers, if you're in a family, your other controllers will have to sit somewhere else. That seems like a pretty neat solution. That's actually, I think that's pretty useful. I think that one's logical. The prices that you see here, obviously I'm not trying to sell anything. These are Australian dollars. That would be closer to maybe $9 US. So that's pretty neat. I actually kind of think that one's cool. This is just some sort of a grip thing. Boring. What? $57. They are dreaming if they think I'll pay $57 for that. These are nice. This is a nice option to have if you can plug it looks like you can plug the USB cable in there and charge it up. So I think something like this is pretty interesting. Obviously the Nintendo includes that sort of dog face control grip in the console. Whoa. What am I looking at? What is this? It's got sort of a transformer situation. Is there like a hinge? Okay, I don't know what this is all about. That's kind of interesting. Yeah. Clip-on design. Oh, right. That's as part of the installation process. Oh yeah, of course, because the so it's not like a configuration for using during play. You have to lift that up because the Joy-Con 2s otherwise would not be able to attach. They wouldn't be able to slide in. So that's not a configuration for play. You lift that up to attach the controllers, then you fit them in. Okay, now the thing with Nintendo's grips that they include with the console, generally they don't have a charging port, so you cannot charge your Joy-Con 2 while you're using them. So that's pretty good. That one's decent. What is this? That is busy. There's so much going on here. Okay, that sort of lifts up, and I believe that folds down, and then it goes and forms a handle grip there. That is... Okay, so you can store 5 games in there, and it also works as a kickstand, because the kickstand is now covered by the case. I think if you... Yeah, I think if you are letting kids use the Switch and they tend to drop things a bit, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't just tell kids to be more careful. Wow. This is a visual nightmare. The back kind of flops out there and it sits in the dock. I think if you need to put a protective case on the Switch, I think this is a good way to do it. Woof. The price tag. Okay, this is pointless but fun. So you can swap out the sides of the Joy-Con 2 and put colors on them. I think over time they're going to add more colors. They won't just have the 2 colors. It's pretty clear they will have more. I think, honestly, I think it'd be neat if they printed game graphics on there. Like if they put sprites from the 2D Super Marios, if they put sprites from Zelda and just printed them along the sides, put some Kirby sprites on there. I think it would be cool, and I wouldn't say no, because it would just be cool. Then you have a bunch of generic stuff like that. I'll open that one up. Let's see, tubs don't really matter. Now this is fascinating. This lets you turn the Joy-Con into a more comfortable grip to use in that optical mode. So we'll open that one up. That's, you know, that's whatever. That's a whatever. Well, we're here to look at it. Ah, what shapes are they trying to? Cute silicone, it's like a star. We'll have to open it. That's kind of interesting. What in Sam Hill is that? What is that? What is that? Okay, I've opened a bunch. This is pretty bog standard. Oh, look, you get to hold some games. Now, I've seen stuff for the Switch 1 where there are a number of games plugged in and then a cable feeds in, so that a cable goes from the peripheral into the cartridge slot, and then you press a switch and then it toggles through your games, so you don't have to keep taking games out. So you can put your top 5 games that you play, put them in the accessory. I have seen that. It seems pretty interesting. That seems practical. For me, there's probably only 3 or 4 games I actually go through, so this one does not do that. That just holds your games for you. That's bog standard, you know, but that's what, $6 US, $7 US. This is what I want to see. Everyone and their mother predicted that third-party manufacturers would offer solutions like this. So I think this is great. Whenever I get a Switch 2, whenever that happens, whenever I have time to actually play games, I absolutely will pick up some of these, because it'll make the usage of the cursors just a bit more comfortable. There's just a bit more to hold on to. I have heard people say that it's already quite comfortable using the Joy-Con 2 in optical mode, but this just makes it more comfortable. This is pretty neat. Okay. I'd say yes to that. Look, that's like $7.30 US. Yeah, and then if your shipping is over, you know, $10 US or whatever, it's free shipping. I don't know how to say no to that. That one seems pretty good. And obviously I'm not trying to sell you on stuff here. You know, that's bog standard. I think that one has glitter on it. Cool, I guess. That's bog standard. I wouldn't... See, I don't like putting stuff like that on my consoles because grit gets underneath the plastic and then it scratches up the console. I have had that happen on other consoles, so I'm not super interested in that. This one turns your Joy-Cons, your analog sticks, into little stars. You get heart shapes on your buttons. Just a silicone cover, it looks like. Oh, no, the buttons are a different shape. I'm gonna give that one a hard pass. Hard pass on that one. This one is interesting. It's minimalist. It snaps. Oh, I see. That snaps into the spots where the Joy-Con 2 would fit into, and it looks like it is just a stand, or it sits there on the headrest for a vehicle. This is something that I think sounds good on paper and probably might not be a great idea. What happens when you hit a bump while you are in transit? I think that looks pretty flimsy. This is something that looks good on paper, but I think in use probably wouldn't be that great. And this, what is this tall boy? I don't know who asked for that. You know what? No. I understand this. You know, if you have difficulty with the joystick, some people just have difficulty with joysticks. Some people might have tendon problems. Some people might have RSI. Yeah, some people just have specialized needs when it comes to joysticks, and the Joy-Con joysticks, they're pretty small. I was laughing. Now that I think about it, I understand this is actually quite practical. This will be useful for some people. My main issue with this is how sturdy is this? How easy will it be for this to just tear off? So I'm not sure if this will be great for fast action and fighting games. I don't know how many shurikens you can do before that cap just pops off. But I think if people have issues with how low profile and how small the joysticks are on the Joy-Con 2, I actually see that this can be useful. Okay, I retract my laughter that I previously issued, and I will say that that's actually going to be useful for some people. And if anything not safe for work pops up, then I'm just going to end the video. AliExpress has this bad habit of putting things up that are not quite great. Another clear case. Those just aren't that useful or interesting. That may be it. We may have seen pretty much everything that's available. We'll go on to page 3 and see if there's anything else. Well, this is funny. People have accused me of being AI in my videos. So I finally get vindication. I get to prove that I'm not AI. That counts. That's a little bit. How long is this going to last? I'm having a little bit of anxiety because I can see a small piece of the bicycle there, and I'm not sure if that counts. This is ridiculous. Okay, I see some... Wait, no, am I gonna fail the AI test? No. There we go. Irrefutable proof that I'm not AI. I've done it here. I proved it. I think... I mean, that's a different one. We can look at that. That just looks funny. What? See that? Chunkification just for chunkification's sake, I think is probably not for me. What is that? Hold on. That one has ears. I think it's a silicone case that has ears. Okay, I don't see anything else really. Okay, yeah, that's about it. Obviously you have the button swaps, but that's not so much of a big deal. Okay. So, let's go ahead and use soft silicones. Oh, well, we're here to look at stuff. Okay. That'll be the last 3 we're looking at. So we have the silicone case. These get slimy over time, don't they? You know, they start out fine, but then they get sticky and slimy. So, I don't trust these. Those are going to tear off immediately. Those will not stay on the joysticks. There's no way. Okay, yeah, those are coming straight off. What is that texture? Okay, hold on. We have some convex and concave here. These are smaller profile. Those are bigger profile. These are going to tear straight off. I've put caps like this on joysticks before. They last. You play 1 round of Street Fighter, those are coming off. Okay, and this one doesn't look that bad, but it doesn't allow for you disconnecting the Joy-Con 2. But it's nice, it leaves room for the kickstand. It doesn't have a massive chunky slots for your cartridges. It has a soft back there. It looks like it won't scratch your... Now this is interesting. There's huge caves in there. Look, they save plastic by not, filling that in, I suppose. But it's to give you some grip. Now, I actually have something similar like this for the Switch. I just need grips. The Joy-Cons are not enough for me. This is something I would consider because I do like having that. You know, the PlayStation and the Xbox controllers are just way more comfortable than the Joy-Cons, but that's why you have the Pro controllers. Anyway, that's something that's practical. That's around $10 US, free shipping. Look, something like that isn't bad. Okay, you know what? There's actually some decent stuff available for the Switch 2 right now in terms of peripherals. So you know what? I would say yes to that. That's pretty good. Yeah, let's keep an eye out, because I'm certain as we get closer to the Switch 2 launching, and then shortly after launch, sorry, I just noticed that is the most bootleg 3D model of the Switch 2 I've ever seen. Look how janky that is. That's not even what the joysticks look like. That is so bootleg. Pretty funny. The screen doesn't even go close to the edges like that. Pretty funny. Obviously they're using some janky render that they just made, they mocked up. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on whatever other peripherals launch close to the Switch 2. Thanks very much for watching. Please take care of yourselves, be well, and if you'd like to see some videos that are geared more towards game development, or if you'd just like to see some behind the scenes stuff when it comes to game development, I'll put some links on the screen. Please take care of yourselves, everyone. Be well.